As we're able to check this next box of mobility and stability, we now started getting stronger in those ranges of motion. And so we use this by first implementing our base 6 foundational movements. These are 6 foundational movement patterns that you'll see that weren't just created by me. I didn't actually create these, I just implement these. But there's a lot of professionals across the board, and you'll notice that if you watch people moving their day to day, these are movements we should be able to do. One, we're talking a squat. Most people get terrified of a squat. If you actually go back to thousands of years ago, we went to the bathroom sitting all the way into the ground. You might not be able to see me on screen much anymore, but hips get all the way below the knees, and I'm able to stabilize there because that's how we used to go to the bathroom. Can I even sit down to a chair without having to fall backwards? You know, when we start talking our 60, 70, 80-year-old athletes, they start to sit down, they fall back in the chair. Well, if I can't squat down to a chair, I'm not gonna last very long, and my body's gonna start to give up on me sooner than later. Number 2, so number 1, squat. Number 2 is a hinge. Can I hinge at my hips, keeping my spine nice and neutral, and pick something up off the ground? This is not only good to be able to do, this is also one of the best things to develop your explosive ability. The stronger my posterior chain is, the backside, or the muscles on the backside of the body, generally more force and power I can create to jump higher, run faster, etc. And so these are 2 of the biggest movements that we really like to emphasize in our athletes, especially early on, to make sure they understand, hey, this is how we do this well. We start with dumbbells and kettlebells first. From there, once you've surpassed our baseline standards to move up to a barbell, we force you to go through the eccentric or the down range very, very slow to make sure that we're building and maintaining a strong pattern, movement pattern first before you start loading the weight. Because once you start loading the weight, we can have some fun, but we are running a high risk of injury if you don't do that well. Third foundational movement pattern is, can I press? We're talking push up, we're talking an overhead press, can I press something overhead, and anything in between, dips. And then 4th would be a pull, so same thing, can I pull something to me? Can I pull myself up? Can I pull something up to my face if I'm picking it up from the ground? Number 5 would be, can I do a lunge or a step up? Something where I have to balance on one leg and produce strength and force in that unilateral position, because a lot of sport happens on one leg. Especially on field and sport courts, anytime that you're running, we're typically on one foot or one leg at a time. So we need to be able to be strong on one leg throughout all the ranges, or throughout our course of our athletic career. And so that's another strong foundational movement pattern. And then last but not least is carrying. Whether we're doing a farmer's carry, some sort of sandbag or anterior carry with a plate, an overhead carry, we want to be able to keep our rib cage and our pelvis stable here, and we want to keep them connected. If I can't maintain posture and I get this lordosis here in my lower back, or my hips are shooting back and I'm extending through my rib cage, very quickly I'm going to start experiencing lower back pain, most likely. Vice versa, if I end up in this opposite posture all the time, I'm either going to have shoulder and neck pain, or you're going to still see that trickle down in the hips and the lower back. And so can my pelvis stabilize and move together? And so carrying is one of the best ways to build up core strength. What I teach our athletes is the core is the hips through the shoulders. Your abs are the center or the core of your core, but that's not your core. Your core is that core of the body, the core of the limbs. And so can I stabilize my torso and my pelvis to be able to move together so I can optimally produce force, I can run, I can jump, I can do all those fun things we want to do, but I also really decrease my risk of injury.